The Carolina Panthers won a football game, guys. I did not expect this to happen this weekend. And you know what else happened? They put up 36 points, guys. 36 points. They had 437 yards of offense. Their running back put up 169 yards, being Chuba Hubbard. They had Dioante Johnson put up 122 yards. This is the first time in forever they've had a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, and a 100-yard receiver, guys. But here's the thing, guys, about that game. Bryce Young wasn't playing in that game. He was on the sidelines, yeah. Andy Dalton started and had 300 yards passing and threw 3 touchdowns. It's time to go ahead and have a conversation about Bryce Young. Now, before I get into the video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. Go ahead and comment to your thoughts on Bryce Young. Can he go ahead and be safe? I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year this year. Go ahead and help me reach my goal. It's very much appreciated. Drop a like on the video and let's get into it. Now, some people could say that this is a one-game fluke, that all of a sudden, this Panthers offense is thriving. It was one game and they played the Las Vegas Raiders, which the most Raider thing to do would be, beating the Baltimore Ravens on the road in Baltimore and then losing to the Carolina Panthers at home. That would be the most Raider thing to do. Now, like I said, some people might say it's just a one-game fluke. It's versus the Raiders. Well, they play Cincinnati next week, and we see Cincinnati's 0-3. They're having some defensive problems. Andy Dalton might go ahead and throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdown passes next week as a revenge game, because that man ain't playing. So Bryce Young, looking at this, he's like, well, they just had 300 yards of passing offense. When am I gonna be able to be the starting quarterback again? And it's like, well, and reports have came out saying that he is gonna be the starting quarterback once again sometime during the season, and he isn't benched for the whole year. But it's like, the Carolina Panthers start playing good football all of a sudden. Are you really gonna put Bryce back in, or are you just gonna let this roll out with Dalton? Because like I said, they have a good chance to win versus Cincinnati next week. I mean, Cincinnati's defense hasn't been looking great. They have a great chance to go ahead and go to 2-2, which the Panthers being 500, just wow. That's something insane to think about. Panthers could be 500 next week if they go ahead and win that game. So if you look at it, the 2 games Bryce played this year, it was bad. One right here versus New Orleans, one right here versus Chargers. Now, if you look at the one versus Chargers, like, Bryce completion percentage wasn't that he threw checkdowns the whole game. I don't want to hear that. Bryce's stats right here for them 2 games. So if Dalton's able to go ahead and throw for 300 passing yards, it's like, well, Bryce isn't able to do this. He has a great head coach being Dave Canal. Honestly, one of the best offensive coach in the NFL. He has Dioante Johnson. Chuba Hubbard was able to do something. Like, what's the problem? And then Bryce looks in the mirror and it's like, well, the problem might be me. And you got to talk about Bryce Young's obvious weaknesses coming into the NFL. He's 5'10". He's very short for a quarterback. Most quarterbacks are like 6 foot in the NFL. He's 5'10", he's 5'10", the shortest quarterback in the NFL, which is like, wow, 5'10", and he's out here, not doing anything. Maybe that's the problem, his height. But I look at it at a mechanical standpoint at that point. The interception, some of the decision making just isn't good on Bryce. I've seen a lot of the tape. Bryce is just making some questionable decisions, throwing interceptions. He's not really being able to make plays down the field. Just every time he's on the field, it just doesn't go well for the Carolina Panthers whatsoever. And genuinely, it might just be a Bryce Young problem that cannot be fixed. Now, there's ways that I feel like to possibly go ahead and fix Bryce. I'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm generally starting to think now that the Carolina Panthers problem is Bryce Young, not everything else around him. I'm telling you guys right now, Bryce Young's time in Carolina, yeah, it's coming to a close. It's over. I'm telling you guys right now, it's over. I feel like, they're not going to have enough confidence to go ahead and start him again. I think that a trade this offseason, or maybe before the trade deadline, who even knows, depending how well this goes, is going to happen. To what teams, you might ask? Well, I have some ideas. If you didn't watch my Miami Dolphins video, which I recommend you go ahead and go watch, I talked about Bryce Young getting moved to the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are going to go ahead and wave the white flag because they have so many injuries, but they went ahead and won versus the 49ers without all of them players. So who knows what kind of direction they're going to go in, probably a winning one. But I basically said that it'd be a 3-team trade. Miami could get Stafford, as you know, because we don't know if Tua's going to come back. We don't know what the plan was with that. They get a win now quarterback. We saw Skylar Thompson on Sunday. He sucked. He sucked. There's no other question about it. He was garbage. Carolina gets some draft picks in there, of course, for they can go ahead and draft a quarterback next year, get some more pieces, and then the Rams get Bryce Young. If there's anyone in the NFL who could truly fix Bryce Young, it would be Sean McVay. Sean McVay, the offensive mastermind Jesus, having him, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, all around him, all these elite offensive weapons with the best offensive minded coach in the NFL, he would be fixed. I genuinely think he would be fixed. And then other teams I could potentially see him going to, I mean, the Miami Dolphins, if Mike McDaniel wants to go ahead and work on a project, but I'm telling you right now, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill want nothing to do with that. Maybe go to the Raiders. I don't know if he would necessarily be fixed on a team like the Raiders, but a team that's desperate for a quarterback, maybe could go ahead. A team that wants a young guy that has that #1 overall experience and being in that Alabama Nick Saban system, so just maybe. But genuinely, I feel like his best thing that would fix him would be getting traded to the Rams. That would fix him. If it is possible to go ahead and fix him, of course. The best odds would be at Los Angeles. But I genuinely don't think it's over for Bryce. Even though he's had a lot of low moments in his career so far, I don't think it's over because there has been a trend in the NFL, if y'all have been paying attention for a couple of years, of quarterbacks starting off terrible and then all of a sudden their careers get revived. It all started with Geno Smith. Remember how bad Geno Smith was with the New York Jets when he first got drafted there? He was all around terrible, and look at him now with Seattle, balling out, carrying that offense. All of a sudden he sat for a few years, learned some things. Look at, he's good now.
The folks you said had written you off, maybe? What do you say to them?
Yeah, they wrote me off. I ain't right back, though. That's the problem. I ain't right back. Let's go.
Baker Mayfield was also kind of in a similar situation. He was decent at the start, but then he had the injuries, and then he had that terrible year, and he got shipped off to Carolina, which no one wants to be in Carolina. Shipped off there before Bryce Young got drafted. He played terrible, and then he got to the LA Rams with Sean McVay. He won that game, won a few games with the Rams, and then look at, he won a playoff game with the Buccaneers. We've even seen Justin Fields. He had kind of an interesting career in Chicago. He's 3-0 with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. But then we got to talk about this year, Sam Darnold. We know how bad Darnold was with New York, with Adam Gase and all the whole messed up situation he was in, and then he got shipped off to Carolina. He wasn't good. Now with the Minnesota Vikings and sitting a little bit with San Francisco, look at him. The Vikings are 3-0. He's playing like a great quarterback right now. The new trend in the NFL is just getting revived as a quarterback, and I genuinely think because of this, it's not over for Bryce. So what should Bryce do for the rest of the year? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think Bryce should sit for the rest of the year. I think he has no reason that he should go back into the fray of this Carolina offense. The fans are already booing him. I feel like there is no circumstances and no reason why he should go ahead and go back. He might as well just stay there, stay on the bench, you know, be the QB2. Maybe you can learn some things from Dalton and Dave Canal and just sit and wait for a decision to be made. I personally don't think he's going to take another snap for the Carolina Panthers unless something happens to Andy Dalton. Otherwise, I think there's going to be a trade this offseason. Like I said, I think him being traded is just the best thing to go for right now because clearly him and the Carolina Panthers offense is just not going to work. Something about it is not right and it's just not going to work. Nothing is going to click. Bryce needs some more time. Now, of course, as an NFL #1 overall pick, you should probably be ready to, go ahead and play right away. But I will admit, I don't think CJ Stroud would be thriving in this offense right now. I know Dalton was cooking, but if CJ Stroud went #1 overall, which that's the person they should have picked, I don't think he'd be thriving in this offense. I feel like he'd still be struggling a little bit too. He wouldn't be as good as he is in Houston because Houston, they got all those weapons. I still feel like Carolina is a little bit of the problem, but Bryce is definitely majority of the problem. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. How do you guys personally feel about Bryce Young? How do you feel about him going into college? Do you think he's a bust? Do you think his career is over? Do you think anybody can revive him? Because like I said, I think McVay can do it, but I think his time with the Carolina Panthers is over. But let me know what you guys thought about the video in the comments. Very much appreciate it. Like I said, trying to hit 5K by the end of the year. Watch my video on the Miami Dolphins right here if you went ahead and enjoyed this video. They are very similar and I feel like you would enjoy that as well. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.